I'd like for you to go to this URL, familylawmarketingguru.com/handout, and there you can download a checklist that we've put together, and I'm following this in this presentation. I've already covered parts of this, but it'll give you something where you can kind of see where you're currently at and how you can use this information I'm sharing with you to take a step up in your business. So let's see here. Okay, so here is a typical search, and what I've done is I've done a search for family law attorney, Naples, Florida. Now I could have done divorce attorney, and we're going to talk about search terms in a little bit. What are the search terms that people use when they're trying to look for a divorce attorney, a child custody attorney, someone to do their prenup? But this is just an example, and I picked Naples, Florida. That's a small city in the west coast of Florida here. Just to give you an example. Now, when you look at a search on here, and I'm going to do this. Let me bring over, that's cutting the page up. But here is one where I can use this to show you how this works. So when you do a search on, and this one's just a little bit different, divorce attorney, first you're going to see the ads. Now, these are people who are doing paid search, and they are paying Google money to appear here at the top. Now, the research tells us that 80% of people just go right past that to something below because they know that these are commercials. These are paid ads, right? Now, the next area, and this is an area that I'm going to focus on first, to show you how this works, is the map search. Now, this works with Google Maps, and when people pull out their phone, they're driving around, let's say they're looking for a restaurant, or they're looking, let's say they want to print something, and they're looking for a FedEx or a Kinko store. This area here is biased towards your current location. Or if you type in something like Naples, Florida, it'll come up like that. So it's going to show you this map, and it's going to show you these listings. Now, I'm going to click on here because I want to show you just a little more detail. Now, this, will show you the same thing that was there before. You'll see ads here. So I'll back up a second. So it's going to show you here 1, 2, 3. So we got Naples, Scott, and we have law offices of Sanya. If I go in here, you'll see these three are in here, but again, we've got ads. Now, again, most people are going to start here because they know that these are paid for ads. But then people can look at the map here and say, oh, I live like way over here. Look, these guys, these 4 people are close to me. Some people may just go right here and say, hey, they're close enough. This is, let's see here. I mean, these are all relatively close to me. They might start looking at reviews, and we're going to talk about reviews in a moment. But the thing is, you want to be at the very top of this. And this is not something you pay for. I'll show you exactly how Google organizes this, or how they rank people in this area. But you really want to be at the top. Now, if you're way, way down at the bottom, that's not a good thing. That's like being on page 3 or 4 of a regular search. You're never going to get found. So, we've got the top part, which is the ads. Then we have this map section. And then beneath this is organic search. So these are pages of your site that rank highly for specific terms. And so, we always recommend on a site, make sure you have one page. And that page is dedicated to the search term, divorce attorney, your city. So if you lived in, let's say, Omaha, Nebraska, it would be divorce attorney, Omaha, Nebraska. Then you would create another page, family law, Omaha, Nebraska. And then you optimize that page for that city. And, on and on and on, child custody attorney, Omaha, Nebraska, so that you start showing up here. Now, showing up in map, not only does it give you visibility in this area, but it starts building authority. Because when people start clicking on these links and start arriving at your site, Google says, hey, look, it seems like this site here has information that's valuable to people searching for these terms. We should start building the credibility. And then I'm also going to show you other things in a moment that help legitimize you in Google's eyes. And by the way, anything I say for Google is also going to be true for Bing and for Yahoo. So it legitimizes you, and shows the search engine that you're not just some little fly-by-night business. You're a business that is recognized throughout the internet as someone that's really doing business in that space, you know, family law, and, you know, there's some credibility there. So let me, I've kind of gone through this already. So there's the pay-per-click area at the top, there's the maps, and then there's organic at the bottom. And like I said, 80% of people are skipping the paid ads. You know, they just kind of go right past it and they go to the map or the organic because they know that's the most credible search result for people looking to solve the problem that you're trying to solve with that search. Okay, now I wanted to include in here what are the top family law keywords that you should be going after. You know, your city divorce attorney, and you could flip these so that it's divorce attorney, your city, but divorce attorney, divorce lawyer, family attorney, family lawyer. Interestingly enough, we found that more non-legal people search for attorney than they do lawyer. I'm not totally sure why. We want to cover both of them, but it's interesting that people are looking for a divorce attorney versus a divorce lawyer. You know, you can go after words like divorce lawyer for men, divorce lawyer for women, because some people, when they're getting divorced, are saying, look, I want someone who specializes in working with men because I have, you know, some issue with my wife that I think someone who understands the man's side of a divorce is going to be better or not. The same is true for divorce lawyer women, child custody, prenuptial agreement lawyer, adoption lawyer. Some people will look for, best family lawyer, best divorce lawyer, family legal advice, divorce legal advice, international divorce. You know, I live in Miami, and there's a lot of people that are getting divorced, but they were married in another country. So the divorce has to be handled so that the divorce is valid here based on what happened in another country. Sometimes there's nobody in that other country that can help with the paperwork that's necessary. So it's, you know, it's a specific niche. So that might be something, depending upon the kind of law that you practice, you know, you probably want to consider. So, you know, what we like for people to look at is, okay, do you have the main keywords in your title tag? I'm not going to get into the specifics of a website because I could be here forever, but I do want you to think about, do you have title tags that tell Google and the search engines, this site is about this topic, which is divorce, family law, child custody, adoption, you know, whatever that might be. Do you have pages for each law firm practice area? So do you have all your services listed in one page, or do you have specific pages dedicated to each service? Now, earlier I mentioned that you might want to have, or you should have, you know, child custody services or child custody legal services. That would be one page, but you could also say, I'm going to have a child custody legal advice, Coral Gables, Florida. And then I'm going to have a child custody advice, let's say, Hialeah, Florida. So those are two cities, two municipalities in the same geographical area, and you can create different pages that target keywords that people might be searching. Now, you may be in Coral Gables, but Hialeah is one city over. So, you know, as a way to increase your exposure, increase your ability to show up in more searches, you start bleeding over into other cities. And then, you know, you look at a map and you look at what are the, you know, the 5 to 10 cities or municipalities around me, and you custom build pages for each of those. Now, for sure, you need to have a page for each of the attorneys in your practice. So that way, when someone is searching for that person, you show up. You know, and some people might be searching for one of your associates. You want to make sure you throw out a cast net that's as big as possible. Now, each page on your site, if you want it to rank, and this is mainly in the organic search section, it has to have unique content. You can't just come up and copy your divorce attorney services page, clone the page, and then just plug in Miami, Florida, Omaha, Nebraska, whatever your city is, and expect Google to rank it. Because when Google sees two pages that seem very similar, what it's going to do is it's going to penalize both of them, and you're almost like splitting the authority for the page. So you never want to come up and get a page and just clone it over and over again and then add keywords for the municipality. You need to rewrite it. And you know, we actually have copywriters on our team that know how to take, you know, let's say 3 or 4 paragraphs that describe a service and rewrite it so that it still flows nicely. It still says the same thing, but is written in such a way that Google isn't going to think that it's a duplicate page. And then here's really something I want you to think about. Are you helping Google understand your ideal practice areas? So is your site geared so that if Google, or really even a human being, sees it and says, oh, these guys must specialize in this more so than that? So, you know, you've got to help them out. You don't want them to just, you know, navigate your site as they're indexing it and have them decide what it is that you do. You want to push them in the direction that works to your advantage. So what we're really trying to do here is we want to optimize the site with SEO smarts so that people call you. You want your phone to ring. You want people to fill out a form on your site, have that send you an email so that you can call them back. I mean, if you can get them to call you and then, you know, you pick up the phones, that's, you know, an ideal situation. So it's just a matter of working that logistic, you know, so that you're receiving it and you're responsive and people say, hey, these people are really up on this. They're not just putting up a website and then kind of responding to people that respond to the site. I mean, that's like, if you do that poorly, you know, you got like a big hole in your boat, and it's just a great way to waste leads. So you definitely, and I mentioned this earlier, you definitely want to make sure your website is mobile friendly. You know, 48 billion people now own phones, 3 out of 5 consumers, especially when they're doing local business searches, they're doing it on their phone because they're not home. You know, they're driving around. Google reports that 40% of the mobile phone consumers turn to a competitor if they had a bad mobile web experience. So if the site is too slow, people that are running around on their phones are much less patient on a slow site. So you have to make sure that your site is quick, responsive. You can't have huge graphics. It can't be a monster page that takes forever to load. So that's something that you really need to take into consideration. So the next thing is your website itself optimized for conversion? So, I mean, it's great that people are arriving at your site, but when they get there, are you welcoming them? Are they getting the information they want? So first of all, you need to have the phone number in the top right-hand corner of every page. And that should be something that if I'm on my phone and I, you know, touch the screen, it should start a phone call. It can't just be a phone number, like, let's say, inside of a graphic. It's got to be something that's easy to call. Are you using authentic images and videos? I can't tell you how many times I get to a website and, you know, you have a picture of, you know, a husband that's doing one of these, or, you know, a couple that's fighting, and it's obviously stock photography. You know, I've also, you know, you go to a website and you see a father with his kid flying a kite. It's, you know, it's stock photography. You need your site to have pictures of you. You want it so that if someone calls the office or if someone walks into the office, they see or hear the voice of the person they see on your website. Because when they call you, you want it to be, oh, I like what I saw on the website. I show up and it's not BS. I actually see the people that are on the site. So that connectivity builds your credibility. It makes you look real. You know, if you have a video, the video should be of the attorney they're likely to meet. It's okay to have like an introductory video that shows like a pan of the front office with the receptionist there, so that when they walk into the office, it's like, yeah, that's the lady I saw in the video. You need that connectivity. You want that engagement. If you write a blog article, write the blog article, but then record a video of you delivering the same message that's in the article. Because people will go, they'll see, oh, look, there's an information advice on, you know, how to retain the rights of, you know, your child custody rights, or, you know, how to write a really good prenup. And if it's you talking about it, they get to see you, they get to hear you, they get to judge in the back of their mind, you know, I kind of like this person. This person seems pretty cool. And seeing you is always better than not seeing you. A lot of people get super gun shy when it comes to going on video. Just think of the people that you see on TV in legal ads. Some of them look pretty good. I've seen people that look horrible, but it's better to be seen and be seen as who you are than to not be seen at all. And just because you're self-conscious or whatever, take a video and just show it to a couple people you know. Most of the time people will say, hey, that's not bad. We always, when we see ourselves on video for the first time, get a little paranoid. We get very self-conscious, and you really need to get past that. And like I said, you know, you have to be mobile friendly, you know, as well as supporting the other platforms. So we're going to talk about inbound links and authority, because here's something. I'm going to show you some solid examples of this. So Google comes up and says, okay, here's Fred the attorney. He's an attorney in Naples, Florida. Pretty good. That seems fine. There's his address. There's his phone number. Good. The next thing that the Google engine does is it say, well, let me see who else knows about this person. And what they're trying to do is seeing, is this like one person who says they live here, or can I go to Facebook, Yahoo, City Search, Yelp, and all of the other minor directories, you know, like yp.com. I'll show you a list of all these and verify that you are who you say you are. And that is another thing that Google comes up and uses to make you more prominent in search results. Now, some people come up and tell me, hey, George, why the heck am I going to put myself in yp.com? Or why am I going to be doing City Search? I've never even heard of those things. I wouldn't even know to use them to search. I totally agree with you. I search 98% of the time in Google, right? But you want to be in these other directories because of the authority it buys you with Google, because Google will check it out. And I'll show you what that looks like. So, you know, no, let me not get ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm going to go off-road again. Let me jump into here. So let me show you, and by the way, here's a free resource. I don't advertise this. I don't give this link unless I'm talking to people or if you're watching my video. But if you go to familylawmarketingguru.com and you go to free scan, you can run one of these scans on your business and find out what the results are. But I want to show you two searches here. So I'm going to start with, okay, so I'm going to go to divorce attorney, Coral Gables. And I'm picking this because I have some examples I want to show you so you can compare someone that shows up high and someone that doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to skip over this one, and I'm going to go right to the map. So look at this person right here. This one is paid for. So let's say we skip that one. There's this one, Corolla. There's no reviews. So here's this person, Christy Hertz. She's got 5.02 reviews. 2 reviews is not huge, but you know, it's better than none. So I'm likely to maybe click on that, right? So I'll click. Now, this is not a bad position to be in. It's position number 2. Now, I want you to notice what people see immediately. They see the address, they see a phone number, hours, and we see a picture. There's a real person. This isn't just some law firm. Now, this attorney has named the law firm after themselves. Good move, because people don't do business with businesses. They do business with people. Then you can come up, and I'm going to right click here so we open up another window. And now you go to their site. Again, picture of them, you know, something they specialize, family law, probate, guardianship, credibility. I'm not going to get into their website. But the thing is that there's continuity. People can go in there and they find something out about them. Okay, Now, I'm going to go way, way down to the bottom. No one ever goes this far, but what I did is I picked the lowest one, okay, purposely, and I'm going to show you something about this, okay? So I'm going to click now on this one. Okay, we got a picture of the building. Now, this is not too far from where I'm at. This doesn't really remind me of the building because they're kind of sharing space in a bank. So this is probably a Google My Business listing that was just created by either information from a client that said something online. So I'm just speculating here, but I don't think this person has ownership of their Google My Business. Or if they did, they built it and then they just left it alone and they didn't do much with it. Because you'll notice in here, you know, it's showing me search information, but there's not much else in here. As opposed to if I go up to this person's profile, we have her picture, we have reviews. That's a good thing. There's the reviews. Now you can go a little bit farther. And to be honest with you, this person doesn't even have a lot of images. You can embed images in here. You can embed videos. So there's a lot more that can be done. But in any case, this Christy Hertz is at the top. Okay, so I'm going to go into the free scan for this person. Okay, so let's go to Christy first. So here's Christy. Now, I want to point out that despite the fact that she's listing up high, a scan of the site tells me that her directory listings are inconsistent. The name of her business, according to how she's listing it online, and let me see if I can find that tab, is Christy L. Hertz, PA. But you'll notice inside of Yahoo, okay, Christy Hertz, PA. Over in Bing, she's Christy Hertz. Over on Facebook, she's Hertz Christy L. PA. And, you know, there's a little bit of a skip in there. She's not in Foursquare. Here, there's inconsistency. So every time you see one of these little red X's, it means there's inconsistency between the directory listings. But the good thing is that this person does have a lot of listings inside of the different, so they do have entries, and that pushes her up. So this is all good. The website has, you know, a schema. There's not a review schema, so that's a technical thing on the site. And you know, the overall review is, you know, 56% of similar businesses in Florida have better reviews, and that makes sense because she's only got 2 reviews. And then there's an 80% listing inaccuracy. Despite that, she's showing up, and Coral Gables is a, you know, a well-to-do area here in Miami, so that's, you know, there's improvement that can be made, and even though this person comes out well. Now, where she might get penalized is in a search for, let's say, divorce attorney Miami, Florida, but because it's inconsistent here, that could be penalizing her in other areas. So there's other search terms where she might show up higher if she changed that, or maybe for other search terms like child custody lawyer, Coral Gables, Florida. Now, let's go over to the person that's at the very bottom. Now, you'll notice the it's still saying that it's 56%, but this one has 90% inaccuracy. So it's interesting what 2% can do for you. Now, the thing that this person has is that there's a lot more unlisted. So she's listed in a lot of places, but not as many as the other person. And this person has no reviews. So as a result, that's the difference between the two. Now, this person did work, it seems pretty hard to get to get listed in Yelp, and the Yelp listing is pretty good. They're listed in MapQuest and in Bing, but once you get past that, there's a lot of missing obvious listings. You know, you see all these blanks where this person here, they're missing here, but for the most part, you know, you have a couple of empty spots, but for the most part, there's many less of these listings not found. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background as to what is it that makes you show up. And, you know, 70% of the battle is getting those links, because when Google sees, hey, look, they're listed in a lot of these other places, and there's links from there to their website, it says, hey, there's authority here. There's a reason for me to list them higher in search results because they're more legitimate. And then, by the way, then you've got, you know, AVVO, you've got FindLaw, you've got the law-specific directories where you need to be listed primarily so other lawyers can find you, because frankly, you know, lay people don't really go there to find an attorney unless, you know, they've got some sort of legal background or someone, you know, pushed them in that direction. So that's more for lawyer to lawyer sort of thing. But you want to be in there because, again, that gives you additional authority that you can use to boost your search results. Okay, so are you consistently creating content? Up until now, we've mentioned the paid search area, and that's another science all to itself. We usually leave that for last because it can be expensive, especially if you're not doing it right and if you haven't done these other things first. So I've got the map listings described to you. That's how you show up in that middle section. Now we're talking about the bottom. How do you get organic authority? So the key here is you have to create content. When someone is searching for, let's say, prenup agreement advice, and they add a municipality or the name of a city, they're looking for the advice. They may not necessarily be looking for an attorney. And so what you want to do is match what someone searching for that term might be looking for. Now, the reason you want to do that is so that you show up, but now you're showing up and the page that comes up is going to be an advice blog. It's something that, you know, answers their question. And the reason that's important is because someone shows up and it's like, oh, look, this is advice. This is pretty good. So they start spending more time on your site. By the way, that helps you in search authority because Google says, hey, look, people don't just show up and leave. They show up, they actually read the article, they spend 1.5 minutes, 3 minutes on the site. That's good for you. You're showing up now for a term that the person was looking for. That sets you apart from the other attorney where the search term just shows up and it's like the homepage of the site and the name of the attorneys and the services they provide, because you're engaging with them. Now, at the bottom of the engagement, somewhere on that page, it's like, hey, give us a call. Here's my phone number. Maybe there's a pop-up so that people can set up an appointment with you. But the whole point is you're developing content, and the content is geared towards the search terms that you want to show up for, and you produce them consistently. So you're issuing an article once a month. Maybe it's twice a month. So the idea, and by the way, it's much better to produce an article a month than to have 12 articles, release them in 1 month, and then not put anything out for the rest of the year. Google looks for consistency. They have algorithms that are watching everything, and what they want to do is, look, this person consistently provides content in this space. So you don't want to show up for plumbers or electricians. You want to show up for family law topics, and that's how you go about it. So you really want to create content. You want to be blogging, and you want to be creating these links back. Are you doing that consistently in your practice? So, you know, doing that, you actually, you know, go up higher in the rankings. So you want to have an owner verified listing. It's Google Places. It's now been named Google My Business. You want to have links so that you're recognized in the directories, and you want to have online reviews. Now, that's a great transition to this next page. So we all do business with clients. We probably have some clients that love you. If you don't, well, that's another problem, and you got to fix that. But how many of us are consistently asking those clients to give us reviews? I would say that maybe 2%, if that, of any businesses inside or outside the legal field are asking for reviews consistently. And this is leaving money on the table, because you saw how those reviews show up when I did the search on Naples. You can see it on any search that you do. People's eyes will gravitate immediately to reviews, especially if they're 5-star reviews. So we all need to have a consistent process so that as you transition a client from like an initial you know, like that warm-up phase in the relationship to later on when, I mean, you don't have to wait until the case is won. You can do it as you're having successful interactions. And it's a matter of consistently sending out an email that says, hey, in order to serve our customers, we have to find them. You know, so you say something, hey, the way we get customers is by word of mouth, by people searching for us online, and your review is priceless for us. So you're not trying to put an onus on them. You're asking for help. Now, some of your clients are going to say, hey, look, I just don't do that. They're lazy. They don't have time, whatever. Some people would be more than happy to, and you'd be surprised. Someone who you think was, you know, just okay, happy with you might say, oh my God, this person changed my life. What a difference. You know, the settlement I got. And they're more than happy to give you a review. So it's a matter of sending them an email that makes it super easy for them to review you on Google+, Google My Business, Yelp. You know, there's a whole bunch of places that people can review you so that you show up, but especially inside of the Google My Places so that your map listing shows those 5 stars, and maybe you have a number like 10, 20, 30. And, you know, if you look at all the customers you have, all you need is for some, you know, to get 1 or 2 of those a month, and now you get the reviews, and that starts pushing your listing up in search results. So another review of this. So what's your Google login? Now, I asked that question in there because some people don't even know what it is, which tells me, okay, they're actively not working it. Okay. Have you optimized the listing in Google My Business? Are you on all the major online legal directory listings? And are you using the same firm name, address, and phone number? So it's key that the NAP, name, address, phone number, is consistent across all the directories, because that tells Google, hey, this is the same company. Look at how consistent they are in the way they name their business. And again, that gives you a boost in the search. The same is true in the, let's see, are you on all the major online legal directories? I guess we have a typo in here. This is in here twice. How many online reviews do you have? And do you have a proactive strategy for getting more and more of that? You know, I'm getting kind of towards the end of this, and now we start talking about social media. If you're producing content consistently, then why not highlight that in your social media feeds? And this can be done on a Facebook page, on a, you know, your videos on YouTube, whatever that might be. Publish them out there. Those are a great place for people to find you, and you want to get that content out as many ways as possible. You know, when you think about it, Facebook, you know, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're ways of getting referrals. You know, in the past, if I'm looking for a divorce attorney, I call my friends. Now, you know, how many times do you see someone online asking, hey, does anybody know of someone that does this? Hey, does anybody recommend this? So, you know, I mean, people with something like divorce might not do that online, but if they see that you're promoting this, or someone asks them, someone might say, hey, you know, I see these posts. They're really good from this one attorney that I know. Check them out. So it's a way to get more referrals from people that know you. So, you know, there's more of these. So do you have an active social media? How many likes do you have? Those are the kind of things. So look through those and see how you stand as a firm, and what are the things that you could do to make that even better. Email. I hear this all the time. I hate email. I never respond to you know, solicitations via email. That's not true. People, if someone sends an email out and the email is in the area that you need it to be, you will open up that email. Thing is that we get so many, any email strategy just has to be persistent, because even if you do have that match, people get so much email, sometimes they just miss it, right? So, you know, there's a lot of tools for doing that. We're an Infusionsoft certified consultant team. So, you know, we do a lot of that work, but you're producing all this content, right? Well, you might as well make a kind of newsletter out of it. And really what it is an email message with, hey, I just wrote this article. It covers this. You probably ought to consider taking a look. And then click to link to the article. Now you have more people going to your site. That's additional value, because Google will come up and say, hey, look, someone's visiting the site, they hung out a period of time, and again, that helps lift your, your ranking. So, you send email to client, you ask them for feedback, requesting a review. So email and review request. Send an email a few days after client meetings, asking them, to follow you on social media. Please like my page, and that way you can kind of stay up on the latest articles. We have found them to be very helpful to other customers. And then you send out an email broadcast or a newsletter. And by the way, don't let a newsletter scare you. A newsletter can be a lot of work to build. But what we're talking about here is emails that send people to a blog article on your page. Keep it really simple. People don't necessarily have to see 6 articles, each of them, with an abstract and a format or anything. Just send something out simple. The thing is, you have consistent content going out. Take advantage of it for something like this. So if you look at the handout, you'll see, do you have an email address database, things like that. So where do you stand here? We like to ask the question, are you standing on top of a strong foundation? Okay. Have you set up your website? Have you optimized it for organic search? Have you optimized it for your Google map listing? Do you have a strategy for doing online reviews? Are you using email to your advantage? Are you using social media? These are all really good questions because, PPC, by the way, is at the top. Like I mentioned before, this is the last thing you should be doing. These other things are things that you start building up on, because if you can get success here, it proves that you have a way of generating leads. And if that's the case, then PPC makes sense because you can get a better return on your investments because your conversions would be there. Okay, now something I always recommend to people, some people will come up, do a lot of this great work, now they start getting some sort of results, but they're not using the tools that you can use to find out how successful you're being. And that's a big mistake because then you can't improve. You have to measure, where am I now and what happened when I send an email out? Did I get a spike in traffic? Did I get a spike in the phone calls, the number of people that are calling me? You really want to be tracking this carefully because otherwise you won't know how to slowly but surely improve your rankings. So, here's a list of tools. You definitely have to be in Google Analytics to track your online ranking for keywords. There's a tool called Bright Local. There's SEO Books. There's Raven tools. I think you should consider tracking your phone number. So instead of placing your number in like Google My Business, you put a number that reroutes directly to your phone number. So that way you can tell how many phone numbers that come in on my phone line come through a phone number because someone found me online. Now, a lot of these tools have great features for recording what happens on those phone calls. We've done projects like this with customers where we're getting them leads and then, it's like, hey, they're not getting any sales. Well, we start looking at, like the first 10 to 20 phone calls and we hear it's like, hey, your receptionist isn't very friendly, or, people are getting lost or being put on hold. We've had some situations where it's like they had to get rid of the receptionist because they realized because of these phone calls that, hey, it was really bad. And then you really ought to put some sort of a CRM, a customer relationship management system, so that you can track what's happening over time and you understand, how many touches you're having with people, how, someone called, we spoke to them, you record a note in the CRM, and then over time you can see, well, what are the things that start happening to make the customer experience really good and get you to closing the client as a customer. So, make sure you have Google Analytics, you have to have keyword ranking tracking and call tracking. Okay, so, we've kind of gone through this whole checklist. I've kind of gone through a number of these. Where do you stand? what is it that you're doing that's good? And a lot of us have things that are good. A lot of us have things, there's shortcomings in what we have, and there's areas for improvement. So I'm hoping you can use this information, to take a next step. Now, if you're like most attorneys, you're busy. You want to be in the know. You want to understand how this internet marketing works. But what you really want is a team to work with you to implement these. And what we find is that a lot of law firms, when they try to do it themselves, first of all, they don't have the right skill sets because they don't do this every day. But even worse, they don't have the time to get it done right. So I want to invite you to schedule a strategy session with me. It's a 45-minute call where we're going to be going over your website. We're going to be going over your current search rankings. We'll go over your conversion factors, online reputation, and together we can help you decide how to best move forward with your internet marketing. Now, my calendar fills up pretty quickly. I only do about 5 to 7 of these sessions a week. So click on the button below. You'll get right to my calendar. There should be a time on there that's convenient for you. And I'd be happy to talk to you one-on-one. Let us know how we can be of help to you.